I think being a lawyer makes someone a leader by default. But again, it's a choice. And it's a kind of call that brings you to the table and having that burden of serving. If I have to give you a little bit of the background, my leadership journey starts with the East African Law Society. It was in 2014 when I was elected at the annual general meeting that happened here in Kigali at Serena Hotel. And by then I was representing the young lawyers. And I was one of the council members that was elected by then to go and represent the young lawyers. Obviously, that was the start and I would say the journey of leadership. And part of the things that we have done that I really feel like this was something commendable is the fact that we, being the representative of young lawyers, we've managed to secure the first ever Young Lawyers Conference at the East African Law Society. That conference happened in Dar es Salaam, and we were at the School of Law at the University of Dar es Salaam. And I remember seeing quite a good number of faces of young lawyers by then, who are now becoming, most of them, senior lawyers, and they are actually the ones that are in the leadership of the bar associations across the region. And if I try to call very well, I was with Harriet Chigai on the council, and the entire team and I tried in as much as we can under the leadership of President Nassor by then to put in place that kind of conference that brings together young lawyers. Being a young lawyer is a state that is not permanent. It's something that happens in time that ends at a certain point where the very young ones become seniors and they are the ones that are in charge of the legal profession. So we have that very big responsibility of mentoring young lawyers and making sure that they become what we want them to become. So that was the main idea that was behind that gathering of young lawyers. Then I served that very term from 2014 to 2016, and then I left the council because by then Richard Mugisha, one of my partners here at Trust Law Chambers, was elected to be the president. And in our discussion, in the same line of having a leadership that is not really wanting to have everything by our own, we decided I was going to step down and not run for the second term. The reason was we couldn't really be coming from the same firm and be on the council, him being the president and me being one of the members. I left, and then I rejoined again the council of the East African Law Society when I was elected to be the president of the Bar Association. And I started serving from December 21st, 2021. Since then, I'm involved in the governing council of the East African Law Society under the leadership of the current president, President Faouz. But I also worked a little bit with President Oundo when he was ending his term. And for now, one thing that I'm happy about is the fact that the governing council is a governing council that is really working for the members. And the major achievements that has happened in the past, they speak for themselves. They speak for themselves. The EALS now has a home, which is something that we have achieved in the past. The East African Law Society today is visible to the members, to all the members. Like this year only, we've had 2 engagements here in Kigali, workshop on forensic evidence. And today we are having this training on FIDI contracts. So it's those kind of engagement that are very important. But on top of that, the East African Law Society is engaged in the journey of development. Development in terms of it being a self-sustained organization. We are now happy that in Arusha we have this very property that we were given by the President of the Republic, Her Excellency Samia Suluhu. And I mean, I believe this is something that is a milestone that this leadership has put in place. But then I call upon all the members across East Africa Let's work together and make sure that we develop this property to become what we want it to be. Let's have an EALS that is not only about the name or even a home like the one we have now. I look forward to see this very EALS complex developed and becoming a property that really reflects what the legal profession is across the region. This question I will respond. I will respond in two ways. Number one, we have a lot that we have achieved in the past 10 years, as I said, since I started engaging with the East African Law Society. It being creating a networking opportunity for all the members. Today, if you ask me the friends and the kind of referral that I'm getting from across the region, it's remarkable. If I go to Nairobi, I have friends that we host. If they come in Kigali, they have no problem that they are going to be hosted by ourselves. We have created a kind of network that is very, very important. And also, we have worked on developing something that is very important on a social basis. What am I saying? We've seen in this life, a lot happens. Like, for instance, when we saw our colleague, Evans Munari from Nairobi, passing on, we were all mobilized. And today, if you happen to speak to his family, they will tell you how we were supportive. We also had something that I can call a kind of something that is not good. It also happened that one of our treasurer in the past that we served with the East African Law Society Governing Council called Nkundabarashi Goreti passed on. But we felt the support of the members across the region. All these people, they are people we met at the East African Law Society conferences. We did not really have those kind of contacts. But today, from Dar es Salaam to Arusha, Mombasa, Nairobi, Bujumbura, so we've really broadened our network. When it comes to legal practice, the East African Law Society has played a very important role in bringing together those members. Number one, like the same way I was putting it. But number two, it has also played a very important role in the training of lawyers, like the ones that I did mention earlier. They've worked on making sure that people understand the complexity of the topics that are evolving in this world that is changing. It's therefore a very important aspect, the creation of the East African Law Society Institute, the EALS Institute. It's a very important milestone that has shaped the kind of trainings that they are providing to the members across the region. Today, if you ask me, like, for instance, the kind of subscription that are being required of $20 for a year, I mean, the ones that have not yet subscribed or even paid that kind of money, that's extremely little money. But it's little when it's for only one person. But when it becomes for everyone across the region, then we've built something strong. So that's what we have achieved in as far as legal practice is concerned. And I believe the social impact, the kind of cohesion, networking opportunity, but also the content of the trainings that are being provided, and this has shaped very important developments in the legal profession. On top of that, we have also challenges. Until now, at the East African Law Society across the region, we have not yet secured a kind of mutual recognition that allows people to practice across the region. If I have to brag a little bit about Rwanda, the good thing is we have accommodated Kenyans, we have accommodated Ugandans, we have accommodated Burundians. All those lawyers are allowed to practice here in Rwanda. We still, of course, have challenges when it comes to reciprocate the same kind of rights in other jurisdictions. But I still believe this is work in progress. And the fact that that is not the kind of legal framework has not yet been shaped and put in place, it has not stopped lawyers from Kenya to send me work. It has not stopped me referring lawyers in Dar es Salaam. So it's high time we really formalize that kind of cross-border legal practice, but it's already happening. It's already happening in an informal manner, but the right of establishment and the fact that someone can go and establish his law firm in Nairobi, establish his law firm in Kampala, and this would allow lawyers to have the possibility of having a bigger market. So that's where, as EALS, we need to put a lot of effort and make sure that we overcome this kind of challenge. You see, in Africa, we have this problem of people being sometimes fearful about their market, and the fact that there is these two systems in which we studied law, Romano-Germanic system and the common law system. But I always tell people that we have conversation about this very issue, that there's no rocket science. It's the only fact that we open, people will adjust. Someone who's been in practice for 10 years, if he gets into a jurisdiction that he's not familiar with, he can make an adjustment within 2 months or 6 months. Or even, let's agree on the curriculum of training these very people that are moving from one jurisdiction to the other. And then let's move on. That's one of the aspects that we lawyers need to be working on. But also the parameters of like politicking around it, and the politics involved that is also affecting even the regional integration in general. They are also with us within the legal fraternity, unfortunately. But I still believe this is a work in progress. I think at a certain point we will be obliged to move into that direction. I've seen some of the lawyers have started taking cases to the East African Court of Justice to rule on the very same issue. I mean, maybe we might not be wanting to do it when we do it by ourselves, but when the court orders this, I don't think we will do away with it. So the idea is let's embrace that very understanding of expanding, allowing people to come, exchange. We should not be fearing competition. Life out there is in itself a competition. We should therefore, the conservative part, the thinking that I will keep the only market of Kigali, of Kampala, of Nairobi, it's not helpful. I hope, okay, let me put it this way. The fact that presidents of the bar associations are ex-official members of the East African Law Society Governing Council, I believe this was a deliberate decision at the creation of the EALS. But it has a very huge impact in as far as shaping the legal profession, because the discussions that we have around the table are the ones that shapes what we agree on and our next moves. And at this point, what I can tell you is the fact that we have really managed to be together as the EALS Council. And people can only decide, people can only achieve, people can only foresee the kind of challenges that are ahead of us when they are grounded. Being calm, being grounded, and understanding the issues around the legal profession and trying to find solutions by our own. That is what is going to help us move forward. I really look forward to having a leadership at the East African Law Society that is really, calm, grounded, that is allowing things to happen and thinks about development, thinks about how we can go and move forward together. That is what has helped us achieve what we achieved in the past and on the governing councils on which I sat. But mainly, the impact is the same way we are doing it at Rwanda Bar Association and trying to develop by our own, by doing business, by securing the health insurance for members, by making sure that we put in place their retirement, by putting in place a kind of scheme that allows them to get to get funds whenever they want some money that they can lend and pay back. These are the kind of activities that once they might be duplicated across the region, they can have an impact. And by the way, lawyers, we are a bigger market. We are a bigger market. If we can agree, like for instance, to use the same medical scheme across the region, that's a huge kind of milestone we might be achieving. So let's be together. Let's understand that someone being a Ugandan, someone being a Tanzanian, and someone it should not be a reason for threat. These are boundaries that were created by colonials, and they should not be really separating us. Getting together, it's actually high time we get together and work together towards a common goal and development. As I said earlier, ELS is an organization that is in its activities nowadays. When, like for instance, someone plans the year as an advocate across the region, everyone looks forward to the annual general meeting. But on top of that, in the past 2 to 3 years, there are engagement in terms of trainings. If someone is not trained physically in Kigali today, he can attend their trainings online. I myself today, if I count the emails that I've received from ELS, it's amazing. It's amazing. We can see you. Engagements on social media, engagements on in terms of content, in terms of everything that is being shared. So it's an opportunity for all the members across the region to stay in touch with ELS Secretariat and make sure that they do not miss anything that is out there for them. Very important. And if there is anything that lawyers need much more, it's training. It's updating their knowledge. And on our side, as the local bar associations, we are also there to support. Like for instance, if you attend this FIDIC, we give CLE points, CPD points, to allow them to be recognized as members. So, but that exchange of knowledge, that exchange of culture in legal practice across the region is something that we have really achieved at the East African Law Society. They, as I said, that we have a common kind of responsibility to mentor the young ones. The young ones needs to understand that the world is changing. The way we used to practice law in 2010, today is completely different. Countries and law firms and everything, they've moved digital. Everything is done online nowadays. So people need to embrace that kind of new knowledge that has nothing to do with the practice of law. But the use of technology is going to be helpful very much for the young ones going forward. But also let them understand that they have a responsibility to serve in the positions of leadership so that they can offer something to the community, giving back to the community. Very important. The kind of service that we are giving in the leadership of the Bar Association and the ELS, it's voluntary. But it has allowed us to grow, to mature, to understand that the world is not only about having your gown and going to court day and night, but also dealing with people, leading, Whoever talks about leadership, you're talking about anticipating, decision making, and having an understanding of emotional maturity, everything, emotional intelligence, and everything. Those are areas that you will not see like or get at the School of Law. But whenever you get into leadership, you then get to understand all those aspects. How do you manage people? Lawyers, by default, they are on the receiving end of issues and the problems. How do you build in yourself a mentality of being a problem-solving person? That can come from the leadership position that you're occupying, but it's going to be something that can help you even in your legal practice going forward. So I believe all those aspects, when you get into ELS and in a gathering like the one we have every 1 year when we meet at the annual general meeting and annual conference, you build that kind of relationship, but you also build that kind of knowledge, something that is valuable in terms of experience, and it allows you to grow in a different perspective. Leadership is responsibility, rather. It's responsibility. It's allowing it's taking people where they can't see when the leadership is deciding. Like the decision we took, for instance, if I have to give you an example of the one of deciding to get into business as the bar association, no one expected that we would be able, like for instance, to clear the loan that we took in the past 4 or 5 years. But today, everyone is happy to have to own the building. So foreseeing, having a vision, understanding and starting your leadership position with an end in your mind, the kind of legacy that you want to leave behind as a leader, that's what makes the difference. Today, if we are speaking, like for instance, of the leadership at the East African Law Society, everyone will remember President Richard Mugisha for having left behind a home for ELS. I mean, not because he's my senior partner, but obviously anyone today understands that this has happened under the leadership of Richard Mugisha. So even ourselves, as we serve the bar at a local level, we learn something from that time. And what we are thinking is, what are we going to leave behind? Because time evolves. Time goes very fast. I mean, I wouldn't imagine that now I'm almost pretty much at the end of my first term of 3 years. But the question is, what have you left behind? Have you done something that has impacted the members? Today, if you ask me, I mean, the investment we've done in the past of course, I work with a team. It can't be only me. With the investment that we have done to make sure that we build a financially independent bar association, that's a mark. It's a mark. And everything that we would be wanting to do in the near future is going to be based on us being financially independent. Number one, lawyers are the kind of people that likes independence very much. From the time when I got from the time when I was being trained, they like independence. But it's very difficult to be independent when you are not financially independent. Everything that we would want to do in terms of project, be it training, be it the project of pension, be it the anything, is based on us having the means that will allow us to implement those kind of activities. Today, we are running a medical scheme, as I told you. I mean, a medical scheme is something that is changing very much. You need cash. You need cash flow that allows these activities to keep on moving. Otherwise, you don't do that or you don't have a strategy around that, you'll be asking membership fees each and every year that is increased. Do members have those means? Sometimes no, because the legal profession goes with the way the economy is growing as well. So that's where we want to come and show leadership clearly. But the good thing about it is, like, for instance, if I have to brag again about Rwanda Bar Association, in the past 3 years, we have managed even to reduce the contributions of members. The reason is because we had already started to implement this kind of strategy, and it's allowing us to, they've started to benefit slowly. But if we apply the same discipline going forward for the next, I don't know how many years, we'll be a bar that can do anything that we want in terms of training or anything that goes obviously with the means that you have. The stronger you are in terms of your economies, the more you can deliver and achieve any of the goals that you would want to get to. The more impact you can also make. Because today, like, for instance, actually you're reminding me of something. By doing so, we are also contributing at the development of the economy of the country. Because today, if the Bar Association is capable of, like, for instance, investing or even doing some kind of savings that is getting to around maybe 1 billion, in our economy is something big. So the economy and the investment scheme we are working with is also getting returns. And we are also getting returns. We are also benefiting. So going forward, we won't be the kind of bar association that is going to, the donors, most of the time they will give you money that comes with conditions. So we don't want that. We will leave that kind of legacy of a bar association that wakes up one morning and making decision and implement its own project. We have a project like now of putting in place a kind of Rwanda Bar Association Institute that deals with continuing legal education, mentoring young lawyers, and so on and so on. All those activities require that we have funds. And we can only deliver on that very mission once we have secured enough funds. And it's still in the same line of ideas of developing the legal practice. And that's the journey we are on, and we believe in the near future we'll be able to deliver on the same. When I'm speaking about the Bar Association, most of the time I want people to understand it in that way. Independence that allows people to think differently. When I look at the benefit of what I got in the past 10 years, as I said, I'm of the opinion that the ones that did not even adhere or even become the members of the EALS in the past, I don't know how many years they've been in practice, I want to tell you, you've lost. But again, it's still possible that you catch up and come and be with others. There's a lot of benefit of being together with and being a member of the East African Law Society. Why I can assure you is, as Rwanda Bar Association, we always strive to make sure that we contribute and give our contribution to the East African Law Society to keep moving in the direction of trying and making sure that regional integration is a reality, regardless of the challenges, regardless of all these, the fact that some people are still coming slowly or even not wanting because of fear and so on. So the Bar Association in Rwanda, under our leadership, we always do whatever it takes so that this kind of regional integration and legal practice across the region becomes a reality. But it's a journey, and it's a kind of work in progress, and I believe we are on it. I look forward to connect again with the members across the region. And one thing that I tell you, each and every year in the past 10 years that I told you from 2014 up to now, I make new friends at an EALS conference because I attended all of them. I never missed any. I was in Mombasa, I was in Bujumbura, I was in Zanzibar, I was in Arusha, I was, everywhere. But the truth of the matter is, at each and every conference, I got new friends. So that kind of networking is something that is extremely valuable in our work. And these are not simple or even just friends. They've sent me work. I've referred them to some of the clients across the region. I mean, there is a lot of benefit, but we should be the one to know what we want. Do not come to an EALS conference when you don't have your business cards. Do not come to an EALS conference that whenever people are getting out for dinner and you're sleeping in your room. No, that's not how it should be working. For the young ones, come, connect, get network. If you want an internship in Nairobi, reach out to someone. If you want an internship in Dar es Salaam, reach out to someone. That's how people develop their capacities. That's how people get connected. And the EALS conference in Munyonyo, I really look forward to that. And it's not only about networking, but the content as well of the discussions, of the topics that are going to be discussed. It's I call upon all the lawyers across the region to really travel to Munyonyo, and we have that conversation, but also a good time, and the aspect of connecting, people coming together, exchanging on their cultural aspect in the legal practice is something big, and I look forward to that.